guys, it's William here at Junnylie and Williams Adventures, back with another video talking a little bit more about LDRs. This is the subject that we wanted to talk about today because a lot of our subscribers that are in LDRs, they're asking these questions, especially the ones that end up meeting their LDRs in person and they're not successful. Are you asking the right questions initially in your LDR? That's what we want to talk about for a brief time, guys. And it's a few things that I thought, remembering back on my time in LDR with Junnylie, some of the preliminary questions, some of the things that we talked about when we started our LDR. This is what we're going to discuss for a little while, guys. Remember, subscribe and like our videos. And we certainly appreciate all our subscribers that have been with us for a while and the new subscribers that we're gaining. We appreciate you guys. We hope that we'll continue to put out content that is valuable in your transitioning or you're thinking about visiting the Philippines. So let's get into it. You're in an LDR or you're contemplating being in an LDR. And a lot of times, we're talking about the Philippines, when you get involved in a dating service. We met on Christian Filipina. That's the site that me and Junnylie met on. In our description, you'll see a link to that website and that service. And we hope you'll take advantage of it if you're looking for LDR. That's Christian Filipina. But no matter how you met, no matter what service, whether it was random, whether it was on Facebook or Meta, no matter how it was that you met in an LDR, the key to mostly successful LDRs is the back and forth. Because remember, if you're in an LDR, remember the Philippines, and that's what we're talking about here, guys, is over 8,500 miles away from New York City and Philadelphia, where I'm from. And one of the only ways that you have to communicate with your newfound partner is by social media. You're talking on Messenger, you're talking on whatever social media you're talking about, and there's at least from the East Coast of the United States, a 12-hour time difference. So you have to pick your times to talk. When it's 6 o'clock in the evening in the Philippines, it's 6 o'clock in the morning here, and so on and on. So the time is valuable. Maybe she's working, maybe she's not. And this goes also for the women that we have that watch our channel. Same goes for you. If you're in a LDR with a man from the Philippines, these same situations would apply. So what are the right questions? All right, let's say that you got through the preliminary few weeks. You've got to the point, and I'm talking to guys, where you're not blinded by the beauty of the Filipina and you're just sitting and looking in the screen and looking at how beautiful that woman is. Trying to understand how you, maybe a middle-aged guy or older, have got the attention of this beautiful Filipino woman that's probably half your age. And so once you get past that initial infatuation stage, which the questions that you should be asking each other if you want a successful relationship. Now guys, we're not talking about a pay-to-play type situation. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about serious-minded people looking for a serious relationship in an LDR. And in this situation, we're talking about from the Philippines. So you got to the point where you've got all the commonalities. You talk for a few weeks. Maybe you talk for a few months. But you really haven't got to the nitty-gritty of what it's about. You decided that you guys are now going to talk to just each other. She's not going to talk to anyone else for the time being, and you're not going to talk to anyone else for the time being. You've set your times that you could talk. You've made allowances for the time difference. Maybe you're still working, maybe she's still working, which adds another dimension to the time frame. But now you're talking. What questions are relevant once you get past the "you're beautiful" and "I really like you" and all that preliminary stuff? If you really want to be serious about a relationship and you got past that situation, now what should you be talking about? One of the first things that Junnylie and I talked about after we got through that initial few weeks of talking to each other and complimenting each other, and she was making you feel so really good because she was a beautiful woman interested in myself at the time. We got down to the nitty gritty, what we really wanted to talk about. First thing I would say is you have to understand, if you're an expat and you want to go live to the Philippines, you want to live in the Philippines, you want to leave your home country, and you've already made up that decision. Now you met a beautiful woman on a dating service, and you're trying to decide when to go visit her. What's it going to look like? One of the first things in conversation that you need to approach, guys, if you're serious, is, does she want to come to the U.S.? Is that what her mindset is? Or is she fine with you coming to the Philippines if you guys end up in a relationship beyond long distance? Is she all right continuing to live in the Philippines? Or have you guys both agreed on coming back to your home country? That's one of the most important decisions that you guys will make. A lot of LDRs that failed are because once they met in person, the gentleman found out that the Filipino wanted to come to the United States or Canada or wherever, Europe, wherever that was at, and he wanted to live in the Philippines. So guys, you have to settle that question. That should be the number one question that you settle once you get past the preliminaries. Are you going to live in the Philippines? Are you going to be in a combination of living in the Philippines and coming to the US or Canada? Because if she wants to come to the United States and you want to live in the Philippines, your relationship is doomed, because right there is an incompatibility situation, guys. So that should be one of the first things that you establish, is where are you going to live? Then there's no secrets, there's no hidden motives later. You should talk about, does she have children? If she already has children, are you ready for that? Does she have one? Does she have two? Does she have three? Are you ready to handle you being in your 60s, maybe in your 50s, maybe even older, having young children around again? What age are they? These are some of the nuts and bolts things that need to be talked about once you get past the infatuation stage, guys. Because a lot of LDRs fail. These relationships fail because people didn't talk about the real issues that come up in a life with a whole nother culture. Family is big in the Philippines. You need to talk about her family, because her family is going to be involved in that relationship, guys. If you're going to be in a relationship with a Filipina, understand this. Her family is going to be involved in your relationship. So guys, you'll have to make sure you set boundaries. Those are two of the top things, guys. You'll have to ask, does she want children if she doesn't have children? Because most Filipinas, their mission, no matter whether they're working or not, is to have children. They want to have a family. And if you don't want more children and she wants a child, you need to settle that in your initial conversations once you get past the preliminary things, guys. These are some of the relationship killers that I've found when I'm talking to our subscribers, that once they got to meet the girl in person and found out that she wanted children, they didn't. She wanted to move to the U.S. and they wanted to live in the Philippines. These things need to be settled in your initial conversations. Remember, guys, comments are welcome here at Junnylie and Williams Adventure. We'd love to hear what you think about the questions that need to be asked in an LDR once you get past the infatuation stage. Also, you need to talk about money. Money is a big issue. Does she work? Is she going to continue to work when you come to visit her? Remember, if you're going to the Philippines for a few weeks, it takes a lot of getting ready to go there. And then if she's going to be working, a lot of Filipinos work 10, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Is she going to have enough time to spend time with you if you get to that point that you're going to the Philippines? Remember, if you're talking in an LDR for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, a year, how long are you going to talk before you meet her in person? What if you spend 2 years talking to your intended Filipina and then you get together in person after 2 years and you have nothing in common in person? The chemistry's not there. I said this before, some disagree with me, but I think that a year is the longest length of LDR before you see them in person. To me, that would be the longest length of LDR before I visit them in person, because I want to know that this situation that I'm dealing with is real, not just a media situation or something that we're infatuated each other online, but not in person. So these are some of the things, guys, that we have to make sure that we are not blinded by the beauty of that Filipina and infatuated because she's showing you a beautiful woman, and now you're an older man and she's showing you so much attention you haven't had in years, that you forget to ask the pertinent questions. And those questions are you going to live in the Philippines? Are you going to live back in your home country? What does she want? What's her desires? Because her desires and your desires could be two different things, guys. And you need to straighten that out early on in the relationship. Also about children. Needs to be discussed early on. Whether she has children, whether she wants children, which most Filipinos do. Religion. Remember that the Philippines is a Catholic country. How deeply involved in her religion is she? How often does she go to church? Are you religious? These are the things that need to be discussed, guys, that you can have a successful, not only LDR, but a future relationship. A lot of times, we don't discuss these things. Is there going to be money involved? Is she expecting you to help support the family? Is she supporting the family? And they're in turn hoping that you will help support the family. You need to discuss these things, guys. Remember to subscribe and like. And if you got a comment, please post it so our other subscribers that are wondering about these things can see what you did. If you have been successful in your LDR and now you're in a relationship living in the Philippines or the United States, how did you become successful? Let us know so our other subscribers can learn from not only our things that we did right, but the things that we did wrong. I know for myself, I made sure that I talked about these things after the first month. After the first 2 months, we started really getting into, once we stayed long enough talking to each other and we made time to talk to each other, I knew that this was a serious woman because she didn't shy away from answering those questions. Remember, Filipinas they're very shy about talking about their past relationships. When you continue to talk about their past relationships, they're going to shy away from that because they don't like to talk about broken relationships. Make sure you find out if she was married before. Is she separated? Was she ever married? Because that could be a hindrance to you if you fall in love for your future. Make sure you know that, because it's hard to get, if at all possible, get divorced in the Philippines, guys. Remember that. So these are some of the things that you need to discuss. And I'm sure I'm leaving some out, but we could talk about those at another time. So guys, are you asking the right questions? This is what you need to discuss once you get past the infatuation stage. Talk about children. Talk about where you want to live. Talk about money. Is she expecting you to support the family? Is she going to continue to work if you guys go further with the relationship? Do you want her working 6 days a week, 10, 12 hours a day? She's not going to be spending a lot of time with you. So these are just some of the things, guys, that we thought that we would discuss and help with the questions that you may be wanting to ask. Don't forget to ask the important questions, guys, in your LDR. So this is William here at Junnylie and Williams Adventures. Until next time, remember, enjoy every day, because tomorrow is certainly not promised. We'll see you next time here at Junnylie and Williams Adventures.